phones, Babylons can't crack the code.
Texas high school football. It is acclaimed as some of the best in the nation for high school football and football period, as in Texas, football is pretty much a religion there. But in today's video, I'm not here to talk about who has the best high school football or football period. I'm here to talk about what happened to the top 5 all-time players from the state of Texas, according to the 24/7 Sports Composite Rankings. Also, quick disclaimer, these all-time rankings, as of right now, only go from the year 2000 to the year 2021. Coming in at number 5 for all-time Texas players coming out of high school, according to 24/7 Sports, is Greg Little, the offensive lineman from the 2016 recruiting class. Now, Greg Little was a 5-star recruit and the number 3 player in the 2016 class, and he chose Ole Miss over schools such as Alabama, Auburn, Georgia, and LSU, just to name a few. Greg Little would spend 3 seasons at Ole Miss, where he was primarily a starter the entire time. In 2016, as a freshman, he was a freshman All-American according to Rivals, and in 2017 as a sophomore, he made the All-SEC second team, and in 2018 as a junior, he made the All-SEC first team and All-American second team. He would end up declaring early for the 2019 NFL Draft, foregoing his final year of eligibility at Ole Miss. In the 2019 NFL Draft, he was taken early in the second round with the 37th overall pick in the 2019 NFL Draft by the Carolina Panthers. Greg Little, in his rookie season in Carolina, was injured most of the season as he only played in 4 games, starting in 3 of them, and in the 2020 NFL season, he was healthier as he did play in 10 of the 16 games that season and started in 3 of them, but he would ultimately end the season on injury reserve. But going into the 2021 NFL season, he is expected to make a bigger impact, especially if he can stay healthy. Coming in at number 4, it is Myles Garrett from the 2014 recruiting class, and in that class he ranked as the second best player in that class. Now, he would end up choosing Texas A&M over schools such as Alabama, Arkansas, Florida State, LSU, Miami, and Michigan, just to name a few. Myles Garrett at Texas A&M would be an immediate impact player for the Aggies. In only his freshman season, in only 11 games, he had 49 total tackles, 12.5 tackles for loss, and 11 sacks. Just in his freshman season, he was a consensus freshman All-American, and he even made an All-SEC team. As a sophomore in the 2015 college football season, Myles Garrett would have his best year of his college football career in this season, where he had 59 total tackles, 19.5 tackles for loss, 11.5 sacks, 1 interception, and 5 forced fumbles. In this season as well, he earned first-team All-American honors from Walter Camp. As a junior in the 2016 college football season, he would only appear in 10 games for the Aggies, where he had 33 total tackles, 15 tackles for loss, 8.5 sacks, and 2 forced fumbles, and a fumble recovery. In this season, he would be a consensus All-American. Now, after his junior season in 2016, he would forgo his final year of eligibility at Texas A&M and declare his name for the 2017 NFL Draft, where he was taken with the first overall pick by the Cleveland Browns. Myles Garrett, in his rookie season with the Cleveland Browns, would play in 11 games, but he would still have a pretty dang good rookie season where he had 31 total tackles, 9 tackles for loss, 7 sacks, 1 fumble recovery, and 1 forced fumble. In the 2018 NFL season, he would make his first ever Pro Bowl as he played in all 16 games for the Cleveland Browns, where he had 13.5 sacks, 44 total tackles, 12 tackles for loss, 3 forced fumbles, and 3 pass deflections on the season. In the 2019 NFL season, Myles Garrett was playing very well and looked like he was going to make his second straight Pro Bowl appearance in just 3 seasons. But in only 10 games, he would actually end up getting suspended the rest of the season after the Mason Rudolph incident. In this season, he had 29 total tackles, 11 tackles for loss, 10 sacks, and 2 forced fumbles. In this past 2020 NFL season, Myles Garrett and the Browns would make their first ever playoff appearance in a very long time, and not only that, they would also win a playoff game as well, and even compete with the Kansas City Chiefs mostly. He would also make his second Pro Bowl this season and make his first All-Pro team. In 14 games in the 2020 NFL season, he had 12 sacks, 48 total tackles, 10 tackles for loss, 2 fumble recoveries, and 4 forced fumbles. Coming in at number 3, it is Mario Edwards from the 2012 recruiting class. Now, the number 2 player in the nation and the number 1 defensive lineman chose Florida State over schools such as LSU, Texas, and OU. Mario Edwards would spend 3 seasons at Florida State, where he had 95 total tackles, 23 tackles for loss, 8 sacks, 1 interceptions, 2 fumble recoveries, and 3 forced fumbles. In his final year at Florida State as a junior in 2014, he made All-ACC first team with 44 total tackles, 11 tackles for loss, 3 sacks, and 2 forced fumbles on the season. He would end up getting drafted in the second round of the 2015 NFL Draft by the Oakland Raiders after forgoing his final year of college football eligibility. In his NFL career so far, he has played 3 years in Oakland, and after his time in Oakland, he played 1 season in New York as a member of the Giants, 1 season in New Orleans, and 1 season this past year in Chicago. Now, he's only played 2 seasons as a starter on the defensive line, his first season in Oakland and his last season in Oakland. His career totals for his career so far is 14.5 sacks, 110 total tackles, 18 tackles for loss, and 3 forced fumbles. He has become an NFL journeyman as of late, but the one thing he is doing is that he is staying in the league and is becoming a decent rotation piece for backup defensive linemen in the NFL. The number 2 player all time from the state of Texas comes from the 2004 recruiting class, and that is running back Adrian Peterson. Now, Adrian Peterson, coming out of the 2004 recruiting class, was the number 1 player in the nation, and he chose the Oklahoma Sooners over schools such as Arkansas, Miami, UCLA, USC, Texas, and Texas A&M, just to name a few. As a true freshman at Oklahoma in the 2004 college football season, Adrian Peterson had a huge season where he rushed for 1,925 yards, averaging almost 6 yards per carry and 15 touchdowns. He would end up finishing second place in Heisman voting and would be a consensus All-American as well. In Adrian Peterson's next 2 seasons at the University of Oklahoma, he would still be one of the best running backs in college football, despite suffering injury issues through both seasons. In those 2 seasons, he would play a combined total of 18 games. Now, he would eclipse over 1,000 rushing yards in both seasons and over 10 touchdowns as well on the ground. After his junior season, he would end up declaring his name for the 2007 NFL Draft, capping off a legendary career at the University of Oklahoma, where in only 3 seasons he rushed for 4,041 yards, averaging 5 yards per carry, and 41 touchdowns on the ground. In the 2007 NFL Draft, he was taken in the first round, 7th overall pick by the Minnesota Vikings. Adrian Peterson has played 15 total years in the NFL so far, and he has rushed for 14,820 rushing yards, averaging almost 5 yards per carry, and 118 touchdowns on the ground. Now, he is mostly recognized for his time in Minnesota, as he played 10 seasons there, and he made 7 Pro Bowls and 4 All-Pro teams, and he even had 1 season where he almost rushed for 2,100 yards and had 12 touchdowns on the ground that season. Ever since he has been done with the Minnesota Vikings, he has become an NFL journeyman as he's gotten older in a sense. In 5 seasons, he's played with 4 different teams, but he's still putting up some pretty dang good numbers as an aging back. In 2018, at the age of 33, he had an over 1,000 rushing yard season, and in this past 2020 NFL season with the Lions, he rushed for 604 yards and 7 touchdowns. And as of the recording of this video, he is not trying to retire anytime soon. The number 1 all-time player from the state of Texas comes from the 2002 recruiting class, and this is quarterback Vince Young. Now, Vince Young would end up choosing the Texas Longhorns over schools such as Arkansas, Florida State, and LSU. Vince Young would end up redshirting his true freshman year in the 2002 college football season. But in the 2003 college football season, he would come in midway through the season as a starting quarterback, and he would end up playing pretty well, where he completed 59% of his passes, threw for 1,155 yards, 6 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions. Now, I know the passing numbers don't sound the best, but in only a short amount of time as a starting quarterback, he had a really good season on the ground, where he rushed for 998 rushing yards, averaging 7.4 yards per carry, and 11 touchdowns. In the 2004 college football season, Vince Young would have his first full season as the starting quarterback of the Texas Longhorns. He would lead them to an 11-1 record, and he would end up completing 59% of his passes, going for 1,849 yards, 12 touchdowns, and 11 interceptions. On the ground, he rushed for 1,079 yards, averaging 6.5 yards per carry and 14 touchdowns. In his final year at Texas in the 2005 college football season, he would have his best year yet, where he won the BCS National Championship game. In this season, he completed 65% of his passes. He threw for 3,036 yards, 26 touchdowns, and 10 interceptions. On the ground, he would end up rushing for 1,050 yards, averaging almost 7 yards per carry, and 12 touchdowns on the ground. He would end up finishing second place in Heisman voting, but who cares about the Heisman when you won the national championship? Fun fact, he actually beat the Heisman winner that season in the BCS National Championship game. After this season, he would declare his name for the 2006 NFL Draft, where he was taken 3rd overall by the Tennessee Titans. As a rookie in the 2006 NFL season, he would be the AP Offensive Rookie of the Year and even make a Pro Bowl after boasting an 8-5 starting quarterback record, completing 52% of his passes, throwing for 2,200 passing yards, 12 touchdowns, and 13 interceptions. On the ground this season, he would rush for over 500 yards and 7 touchdowns. Now, he did show a lot of promise in his rookie year and a lot of flaws, but people were hyped for Vince Young after his rookie year and thought he would improve a lot more, especially with his passing abilities. Well, that was never really the case. Vince Young actually never really improved after his rookie year, especially in his passing abilities. His best season with passing yards wise and his completion, he would also throw 9 touchdowns in that season and a total of 17 interceptions. He would make another Pro Bowl in the 2009 season, where he had an 8-2 starting quarterback record and completed 59% of his passes, had 10 touchdowns and 7 interceptions. Now, as his rushing abilities grew less and less by the season, he was not looking like the best starting quarterback to be your guy, your franchise piece. And after 5 years in Tennessee, he was no longer there. He was just done. He would spend one more season in the NFL as a backup quarterback with the Eagles, and after that, he would struggle to find a job as a backup quarterback in the NFL, and he has not played a down since 2011. His career numbers include a 31-19 quarterback record as a starter, 58 completion percentage, threw for 8,964 yards, 46 touchdowns, and 51 interceptions. Now that I'm at the end of the video, you guys let me know in the comments, what state do you guys want to see next now that I have Texas done? And also, before you leave, remember to smash that like button, turn on them post notifications, and subscribe for more videos. B. Kelly, out.